looking at the stock. They know she always sells because she's been doing it for the past 10 years. So she has a business plan and unwritten, but they've done an evaluation. And that is why they can put 200 rands in there to say, go and buy stock or saditamati or go and buy whatever. Why? Because they have seen a trend. They have seen how the business has performed. Because if the business was not performing, she would not be sitting there for 3 years. What is the risk cover? They know she has a family. They know the family depends on her being there. And so they have done their risk analysis and they put 200 rands in. They charge interest on top of that.
Ke tla o fa 200.
Ke tla fa 200,
250.
ke batla ile 250. She agrees. Why? Because her cash flow is affected. She needs to keep her clients happy. So she's doing a cash flow analysis without writing it. Those rules apply again in the business. When a loan is granted against the cash flow. The cash flow is granted against the performance of the business. When the business is performing, you have a certain risk factor. Then there's a grading against interest. Then you get repaid. You repay according to how you have behaved in the business and your credit affordability and repayment ability.
So quite interesting what you are saying, right? So say for instance, you were kokasi. The lady has not started any business. And she comes and says, lend me 200. I want to start a business to sell tomatoes. Are you saying chances are you would not give her the money because there's no track record?
Exactly.
Versus when she comes back and says, I've done the business 6 months. You saw me. I've got X amount of people that buy from me on a daily basis. I do make some cash flow. I will be able to recover the loan and pay back the money. Lend me 200 rands. I want to buy stock.
Exactly.
The conversation is different.
Totally different.
But why is this not taught to people at a large scale to say, if you're looking for money to invest in a business, there must be a certain level of track record that either as an individual entrepreneur you've built somewhere or you've built it through that business you're looking for funding for?
Again, it's a lend environment. Now, remember what happens is that from a formal institution perspective, if I am an investor or if I'm a bank, the bank, for instance, doesn't have its own money. It uses depositors' money. People think that the bank has money. The bank doesn't have money. So the responsibility of the bank is for them to make sure that they keep the depositors' money safe, or at least they return the depositors' money with interest. So I take your money, I put it in my control, and I extend it to the next person. I have to guarantee the fact that it will come back. So if I give it to somebody that has no record, it means that I potentially 90% can throw the money back or throw the money away, right? So I have to guarantee the return of the financial income. What normally happens, and I know people always make this comment around, there's a difference between how loans are extended to white people and black people, right? Which is a reality in many instances, but it's not the only reality. You must also take into account that in our system, when we start from scratch as startups on a zero basis, we don't have record. We haven't built any record. We don't have a specific trust factor that we've built in order for somebody to invest in us, right?
Yeah, same
But
as that lady wouldn't have sold the
Exactly.
tomatoes yet.
But if that lady goes and says, I will guarantee your return of that particular money that I'm asking you from, please take a hold on my fridge and my dishwasher.
Yeah.
You understand?
It's collateral.
It's called collateral.
Yeah.
But if she says then, no, my son is working, right? And my son will be able to repay you. You know him. He works for Siemens, or he works for Spurnet. He works for Sasol. I know your son because I grew up with him.
Surety.
Right? Then it's surety.
Yeah.
So the same applies, is that some of the businesses that are funded, what we don't see is the guarantor, is the guarantee that is gotten from another person. The business may be brand new, but they have uncle so and so, my father will put a guarantee against that as a collateral. So we are not taught those things to say you can actually go and find a guarantor. You can find somebody who can guarantee your debt as long as they're willing to share liability of whatever you're coming into.
And then which also creates the opportunity to be able to create investment opportunity for that
Exactly.
person who's guaranteeing the loan.
Yeah.
Right. So for instance, if I go to my uncle and said, I'm building a business, this is how big it can go. I need X amount of money. For him to stand as guarantor for me, there must be an opportunity for him
Exactly.
to reap
What's
the reward
in
of
it-
the risk.
What's in it for him?
Yes, because it wouldn't make sense for him to just take up some risk
Yeah,
without
because
reward. Ngwana says-
Ngwana says no.
When you look at your journey, the accumulation of the 20 years, right? What defining moments actually sparked the now desire to want to be in strategic business management and coaching, as well as consulting?
So I'm a maverick entrepreneur, right?
What's a maverick entrepreneur?
So I do more than one line of business. So for me, where I have landed now, to your question, has been shaped by a whole lot of things which I came across as I was growing out of my qualification. Logistics was a qualification that, from a logistic perspective, I became a buyer. From a buyer perspective, I started focusing primarily on procurement of certain commodities. From that, I started now to branch into preferential procurement and development of suppliers at a very early stage. And that shaped how I started viewing the element of SME development and growth and transformation. Because out of that, I then moved to Transnet head office. From Transnet head office, I then got headhunted to work at Siemens as a buyer, again, focusing on preferential procurement and BEE. So BEE became an angle at which I could start to focus on what do black suppliers need in a procurement system, within a supply chain, and for them to actually participate at a multinational perspective. So with that, it grew a need in me to want to see participation of black business in the mainstream. Firstly, it was in public sector, grew out from there, and then went into private sector. I think my job at that time was growing